Yo, what's good, Boss Economics World fam? It's your boy, the economic truth teller, back with another spicy breakdown of what's cooking in the global money pot. Buckle up, cause today we're diving into the hot mess that is the US economy in July 2025. We've got tariffs jacking up prices, the Federal Reserve playing chess with interest rates, a job market that's starting to wobble like a bad TikTok dance, and a consumer spending scene that's giving meh vibes. Let's unpack this economic dumpster fire from point to surface, boss economic style, with all the sass, stats, and shade you love. Whether you're a regular Joe scrolling for financial tea or a Wall Street suit crunching numbers, this one's for you. Alright, let's cut to the chase. The latest economic buzz is that US consumers got slapped with a slight uptick in inflation in July 2025, and it's all thanks to those pesky tariffs. The Core Consumer Price Index, CPI, which strips out the roller coaster of food and energy prices, climbed 0.3% month-over-month, up from a measly 0.2% in June, according to Bloomberg's Economists survey. That's the biggest monthly jump this year, folks. And while the overall CPI was held to a 0.2% gain, thanks to cheaper gas prices giving drivers a breather, the writing's on the wall, tariffs are sneaking into your shopping cart like that one friend who always forgets their wallet. Now, if you're wondering where you're feeling the pinch, look no further than your couch or that new gaming console you've been eyeing. Household furnishings and recreational goods are getting pricier as retailers pass on the cost of higher import duties. Posts on X are screaming about it too, with analysts pointing to tariff-sensitive categories like apparel, appliances, and furniture driving the core CPI spike. It's like the government decided to tax your vibe, and now your dream of a cozy sectional sofa costs an extra Benjamin or two. But here's the kicker, this is just the appetizer. Economists at Goldman Sachs are forecasting core CPI could hit 3.3% year-over-year by December 2025, with tariffs adding a solid 0.12 points to the mix from household goods alone. Meanwhile, JP Morgan's Priya Mishra is out here warning that by year-end, core CPI could climb to a spicy 3.5%-4% as companies burn through pre-tariffed inventory and start passing on the full cost. That's right, folks, your holiday shopping list might need a side hustle to cover it. Zoom out, and the US economy's looking like it's auditioning for a sequel to Stagflation, the 1970s horror show. RBC's calling it Stagflation Lite, growth slowing to a crawl while inflation creeps up like your rent in a gentrified neighborhood. The headline CPI is projected to hit above 3% by year-end, and core CPI's already flirting with that level. Meanwhile, GDP growth is limping along at a projected 1.4% for 2025, down from the Fed's earlier 1.7% estimate. This is where the Federal Reserve comes in, strutting onto the stage like a tightrope walker with no net. The Fed's kept interest rates steady at 4.25% all year, and they're sweating bullets over whether these tariffs are a one-time price pop or the start of a full-on inflation party. Fed Chair Jerome Powell's out here saying, tariffs? Yeah, someone's gotta pay for them, and it's probably you, the consumer. The Fed's June 2025 projections show core PCE inflation, their preferred gauge, hitting 3.1% this year, up from 2.8% in March. That's a big oof for their 2% target. But it's not just inflation keeping the Fed up at night. The labor market's starting to look like it's got a case of the Mondays. The unemployment rate's at 4.5% in Q4 2025, per the Fed's projections, and the mean probability of losing a job in the next 12 months ticked up to 14.4% in July, according to the New York Fed survey of consumer expectations. Companies are getting nervous, and some are trying to eat the tariff costs to keep price-sensitive shoppers happy. Good luck with that when real disposable income growth is basically flatlining, Bloomberg Economists noted it contracted in June. Let's talk retail, cause it's giving mixed signals. Economists are expecting a solid gain in July 2025 retail sales, fueled by car deals and Amazon's Prime Day Flex. But strip out auto dealers, and the numbers are more like a shrug emoji. When you adjust for inflation, consumer spending's looking as uninspired as a Zoom meeting on a Friday afternoon. The Commerce Department's PCE report already showed consumer spending barely budged in June, up just 0.1% after inflation adjustments. Americans are tightening their belts, and with incomes flat in real terms, it's no wonder why. Then there's manufacturing, which is basically stuck in neutral. The Fed's upcoming report is expected to show factory output flatlining as manufacturers grapple with tariff uncertainty. It's like trying to plan a road trip when you don't know if the gas station's open. And speaking of global drama, the US-China trade truce is set to expire on August 12, 2025. If that falls apart, brace for more tariff-fueled price hikes, especially on consumer electronics and apparel. Oh, and let's not forget our neighbors up north. The Bank of Canada's holding steady at 2.75%, but they're leaving the door open for cuts if their economy tanks or inflation chills out. Meanwhile, Canada's home sales are on a hot streak, potentially 3 months of gains in July 2025. Compare that to the US, where home price growth expectations are stuck at 3%, and you've got a tale of two housing markets. Globally, it's a wild ride too. The UK's GDP growth is slowing after a strong start, with the Bank of England on high alert for tariff-driven inflation spikes. Switzerland's reeling from a 39% tariff shock, and their Q2 GDP might show a contraction. Down under, Australia's Reserve Bank is eyeing a rate cut after inflation cooled in Q2. It's like the whole world's playing economic whack-a-mole. So, what's the vibe here, fam? The US economy's stuck in a weird limbo where tariffs are pushing prices up, but consumers are too broke to keep up. The Fed's in a bind: cut rates and risk inflation going full Godzilla, or hold steady and watch the job market crumble like a stale cookie. Wall Street's already freaking out, with ex-posts warning about stagflation as tariffs mess with the Fed's rate cut plans. For the regular folks out there, this means your grocery bill, your furniture, your new iPhone, it's all getting pricier. And with wages barely keeping up, median earnings growth at 2.6% in July, for the New York Fed, you're feeling the squeeze. For the finance pros, it's time to rethink those portfolios. Bonds and stocks could take a hit if inflation gets sticky, especially if services inflation joins the party. Mishra at JP Morgan's already waving the red flag on that one. Here's the real tea: tariffs are like that one guest who shows up to the party and ruins the vibe. They're driving up prices, but the full impact's still coming. Think Q4 2025, when inventories run dry and retailers stop playing nice. The Fed's got a 95% chance of a quarter-point rate cut in September, per the CME FedWatch tool, but if inflation keeps climbing, they might slam the brakes. And with the US-China trade truce on life support, global supply chains could get messier than a reality TV reunion. So, what's a boss to do? If you're a consumer, maybe hold off on that big purchase and hunt for deals. If you're in finance, keep an eye on tariff-sensitive sectors like consumer electronics and autos. They're ground zero for price hikes. And for everyone, brace for a bumpy ride. The economy's not crashing, but it's definitely doing the cha-cha with chaos. That's the word on the street, Boss Economics World Crew. Drop a like if you're feeling this economic roast, and smash that subscribe button for more spicy takes. What's your take on these tariffs and the Fed's next move? Hit the comments, and let's talk shop. Until next time, keep your wallets tight and your hustle right. Peace out.